MEV smoothing, and why is it a no-brainer for solo stakers? Other one, other button. Okay, so what if I told you that as a solo staker, you can earn up to 120, 130% more rewards? That we're going from 100 to 220% of rewards. And it is actually like it's a no-brainer to do it. You can do that. I'm talking about execution rewards. I'm cheating a little bit. Consensus rewards are going to be the same. But who is validating here on a proof-of-stake chain? Okay, 1, 2. All right, cool. Yeah, okay. So we're going to see why MEV is important and why is not only makes sense for you to get more rewards, 120% more rewards if you're a validator, but it's actually an imperative for Ethereum that you do so. So, as a solo staker, you propose less than 3 blocks per year, and we get that number by taking the amount of seconds in a year, dividing by 12 seconds per every slot, divided by the amount of validators that we have. That means that we should be proposing around 2.6 blocks per year. Now, the execution rewards, you know that there's 2 types of rewards that you get when you're a validator. You get consensus layer rewards. That's what we call like the Ethereum inflation, right? Like in order to propose a block or to do something, you get paid to do the work that you're supposed to do. And then you also get execution layer rewards, which are basically fees and MEV. Now, the consensus are extremely predictable, but execution layer rewards are not predictable at all in the sense that if there's a period of high activity in the network and the gas is very high, your reward, if you propose that block, is going to be higher, right? Plus, enter MEV, the whole world of MEV, sandwich attacks, et cetera, et cetera. So does everybody know what MEV is? No? Yes? No? Anybody needs a refresher of MEV? Refresher of MEV. Good. So MEV is the amount of value that you can extract when you're the one that's proposing or building a particular block by reorganizing the transactions inside of that block and inserting transactions for yourself. Like, for example, the classic is a sandwich attack. If somebody's about to use a market maker, that will move the price because that's how automatic market makers work, like Uniswap, for example. So you inject a transaction in that block before buying, you moving the price a little bit, then you put the transaction of the person that wanted to do that move, the price moves a little bit more, and you immediately inject another transaction right after selling what you did, and you, obviously, of course, you move the price at the beginning, then they moved it more, and then you sell, so this differential is what you get as profit. So it's an entire industry. We could spend hours talking about MEV, but the idea is that it gives you, for solo stakers, it makes execution layer rewards very, very unpredictable. Now, here's 2 solo stakers, Alice and Bob. Alice will propose in 1 year a lot of blocks because she's very lucky. Will propose a lot of blocks, whereas Bob proposes only 1 block. So Bob's quite sad because we said that we would propose less than 3 blocks a year, but actually it's random. That's what you should get, but since it's random, some people might get 6, some people might get 0. So Alice is happy, Bob is sad. Not only this, but also MEV rewards, the execution reward of these blocks can be very different. Alice, on one of these 6 blocks, gets a massive 197 ETH. Alice is very happy. And Bob gets 0.0000. That's too many zeros. ETH. So Bob is very sad. And you cannot know in advance whether you're going to be, if you're a validator, you're going to be Alice or you're going to be Bob. You have no idea. You cannot know in advance. So there's this is actually a DAppNode user that is the most unlucky validator. Like he hasn't proposed any blocks. He's been there since maybe a year and a half and proposed 0 blocks. It's very sad. Okay, so this is what happens with blocks. This is how blocks, if you're a solo staker, this is what you can expect to have, this variance of, and this variance is a bad thing. Why is this variance a bad thing? It turns out that MEV is actually a centralizing force for Ethereum. What do I mean by a centralizing force by Ethereum that plays against the home staker. Now, big pools like Lido and centralized exchanges, they have lots of validators, right? And this is nor good nor a bad thing. They have lots of validators, which means that overall, they're very likely to propose blocks that have high MEV rewards. And what they do, obviously they don't reserve this 197 ETH block that we've seen. They give it to only one validator because it's a pool. They distribute this among all of the validators. So basically, a validator in Lido or in centralized exchange or in a big pool is more likely to have a higher APR than a solo staker. You can see how this can be centralizing. If I get more APR in a pool or in a centralized exchange than being a solo staker, what incentive do I have to be a solo staker? None, zero, it's crap. So, another thing that we can say is solo stakers contribute more to decentralization than a marginal validator in an AWS setup, which is what most institutional validators are running, right? And why does it validate? I want this to be very, very, very clear for you, why a solo staker gives more value to Ethereum than a marginal validator in an AWS setup or in a cloud setup. Now, this is one node. This is a blockchain and it has one node. It's not decentralized. It can be a blockchain, it can have Byzantine fault tolerance, like the protocol can be, but if it has one node, it's a centralized system. Two nodes, very basic data redundancy. Decentralization is a gradient where properties emerge. And you get nodes in different locations. You get resilience to natural disasters. You get nodes in different power grids. You get resilience to blackouts. You get nodes in different political jurisdictions. You get resilience to regulation, regulatory capture. You get nodes in different hardware. You get resilience to zero-day exploits or hardware issues. You get different client implementations, resilient to zero-day exploits in particular libraries or code. And basically, the more decentralized you are, the more resilient your system is. So now you can see that if you just have a bunch of validators in one single machine and one single rack in one particular country, one more validator there gives nothing extra to decentralization. But one extra validator in Kenya or in Barcelona or in some village here in the mountains over there that you can see, that gives extra resilience. That gives more resilience to the system. So home staking, we can say that it's the sort of the gold standard for decentralization. It works in any country, different geopolitical location, jurisdiction, different ISPs, internet providers, power grids, and it favors variety, et cetera, et cetera. So why are we, if we agree that solo stakers add more value to a network than validators in pools, why are we rewarding them less? And remember what I said, that you get more if you're in a pool than if you're a solo staker, right? Why are we rewarding them less? What's the solution to this? Well, we should pool as solo stakers. We should do the same thing. We should pool our execution rewards and do the same thing as pools do. We should do a smoothing pool. And how does this work? So basically, when you are a solo staker, you get the median. You can expect to be around the median. You can expect that if you propose three blocks, 50% of the blocks will have more MEV, 50% will have less MEV. But if you're in a pool, you get closer to the average. So you can see that the average is here. And why is the average here? Because there's very little blocks with a lot of big reward. Actually, this curve is not right. Actually, it's like this. It's more like this. But you get a lot more rewards closer to the average. This is the median reward, and this is the reward on flashbacks, the average reward. And if you look at our smoothing pool, you can see that if you go at the middle, this is not a very scientific way of looking at it, but you can organize all of the blocks, and you can check at the center, and it's right here, 0.05, so we're around the same, and the average is more towards, so if you multiply this, the average is 0.11. So if you multiply this as a solo staker and you propose 3 blocks, 15 ETH, if you participate in a pool, you get 0.33 ETH. Hey, who doesn't want to participate in a pool? Hey, you would be almost stupid not to participate in a pool, unless you don't like money, you know. Cool. So, all right, I'm gonna go very quick now. How do you join this pool? The only thing that you need to do is you need to change your fee recipient address, and that's what you set this up on your validator. You change the fee recipient address, and you send your rewards to the pool. The pool has a smart contract and an oracle, and will split the rewards among all of the validators. Now, we have pretty good documentation. There's not much time, but there's a whole thing on how do we do it so you cannot steal from the pool. And basically, when you subscribe to the pool, you keep accumulating rewards, but you cannot take them out. So T1, you haven't proposed a block here. You cannot take these rewards out, but then you propose a block. And then all of you had accumulated, all of these that you couldn't take, now you can claim all of these rewards that you have accumulated. But time keeps moving on, right? And you keep accumulating rewards, but you cannot claim them yet. You can claim up until here, but not until here. And if you don't propose a block and you miss a block, for example, those don't become claimable. So basically, you can only claim what you have after you have contributed to the pool, and therefore proving that you are contributing to the pool, and you can claim up to this. So that's how we solve the sort of like the MEV stealing from the pool. Okay. Well, this is fun. Anybody knows what the Nakamoto coefficient is? Right, the Nakamoto coefficient has to do with the decentralization of the network, and it is defined as the number of entities that need to be compromised to compromise the network. And number of entities is very broad. Could be like cloud providers or jurisdictions, geopolitical jurisdictions. How many countries need to ban Ethereum for Ethereum to be in trouble, right? So the Nakamoto coefficient in terms of geopolitical jurisdictions for Ethereum is 2. Germany and the US. That's not very decentralized. And this is to put more intensity to the thought that solo staking is extremely valuable. I'm going to go straight to the summary. This is DAppNode. If you want to run a solo, if you want to run a validator, you can use DAppNode. You need no technical knowledge. We have like this nice UI, and then you click here, you click an execution client, a consensus client, you put the keys on the Web3 signer, choose whether you want to do MEV boost or not. Hit me up later if you want to know more. But I really, really want you to not be a virgin DeFi crypto bro and be a Chad staker. That's one. But basically, I want to recap. Smoothing as a validator is economically beneficial. Home staking is better for the network, and you can help Ethereum by, number one, joining Smooth and therefore getting all of the rewards from solo stakers from the median to the average, therefore increasing this. You can do this. If you can also donate to Smooth. If you have thousands of validators and you have a smoothing effect, like you're a pool, for example, you can donate to the pool and literally increase the APR of every validator that's subscribed to the pool, or you can airdrop to solo stakers. Smooth.dappnode.io if you want to know more. Those are our socials. Thank you very much. Hit me up if you want to discuss a little bit more.